Hello guys, it's Rachel at From Moments to Milestones, and I'm here today to put together our newest paper pad card kit. We use the EchoPark Magic of Christmas 6x6 Mega Paper Pad to create this kit. So we have 7 cards that we created, and so if you purchase a kit, you will be able to make these 7 cards. And in the kit, you get the remainder of your paper pad, and each card kit is kitted separately. You'll have directions with a picture, a larger picture of each card inside. So we will get started with this card here. It's a card that stands up on its own, but it also folds flat so that you can mail it. So we will start with that one. So we will start by putting together the card base. So I'm going to get my bone folder out here. And your card is already folded in this fashion, but you should have 3 score lines on each side. So I am going to just fold on each one of those, and all in the same direction. Oops, you do such a great job there. All right, so it'll kind of roll onto itself like so. So we're going to do the next one. All right, and so once you have those rolled up like so, you have these 2 little tabs on both sides, about 1/4 inch tabs is what they are. So we're going to put score tape or adhesive on those. I did not bring my score tape, so I'll be using wet adhesive. So I'm just going to put some adhesive on there. I don't want too much, I don't want it really oozing. And then what you're going to do is you have 1 score line, 2 score lines. You're going to fold on that and then tuck in that flap, and that is going to get glued to your card. So you fold flat, you'll see a score line in the middle. I'm just going to press that in. Since I'm using wet glue, I'm just going to give it a couple seconds here. And then we've created that little box. Easy peasy, right? And so I'm going to do that same thing here. So there's 1 score line, 2. We're going to fold on it and keep that tab tucked in and fold it flat. And then our little, so now we have this portion of our card that will stand up and it also folds flat. All right, so now in your kit, you should have this white piece of cardstock, and that piece is going to go over the top. But my suggestion would be to either force them both one way or both this way. And we're going to glue like so. So I'm just going to put some glue on this edge. I'm going to fold them both flat. Oh, I don't want to do that yet. I need to put the paper on. Got a little ahead of myself. All right, you should have these 2 tree strips. One is going to go here. You're going to have a white border, and the other one's going to go on the other side. Like so. So those are both the parts that stand up. And then you have this Santa paper here. It's red on the back. You could certainly use the red if you prefer. then you will also have a little white border in there as well. Okay, so it looks like that. Now we can put this piece on. Hopefully that glue hasn't dried yet. So now that your piece looks like this, we're gonna fold it over, and I'm only gluing to this portion with the green tree on it, and I'm gonna come up maybe about 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch. And I'm just gonna glue that there. Okay, so now it's glued like so. And then I'm gonna put glue on this end as well and do the same thing. So I'm gonna fold them both the same direction and glue it down. If you have them going the other direction, it's not gonna work. So they both need to be going the same direction. And that will keep your card square as well. Okay? So now that piece is on there. Now if you find it a little long like mine, I'm just gonna take some scissors and trim it, or you can leave it alone. So you can fold it flat and trim. Okay, so there's that. So you have this sentiment, we wish you a Merry Christmas. I pop mine up, that's a preference. Or you can just glue it straight down. So I'm going to go ahead and pop it up. All right, and it's gonna go end to end, but you'll have a white border at the top and the bottom. Okay, so there's that. And so now we're gonna put together our gifts, and then we'll move on to our tree. So let's start with the black. So you should have a black square, a black box top, and a plaid, we're gonna use it as a ribbon, and a plaid bow. All right, so I'm gonna start with this little ribbon piece and glue that to the center of the black box. All right, and then I'm gonna put on the box top, which I popped up. So, not that much. I hope I'm on camera here. Okay, so I'm just gonna put, whoops, on the bottom of one of the edges. And then that is going to go on top of the box. All right, and then we have our ribbon. I don't think that's straight. Okay, now it's straight. And then our bow, which is the green, you can mix and match too if you'd rather, is gonna tuck in behind there, okay? Where did I? Actually, I'm gonna put glue on the front. And I'm gonna glue it back here. All right, so it's gonna look like that when you're finished. So I'm gonna do that same thing for our plaid box, but this box top is too long. So I'm just gonna trim it down to where I want it, which is gonna be right at the edge of that plaid mark there. And then I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm going to use some foam. And put that box top on like so, and then I'm going to glue the bow to the back. And I'm actually gluing it to the back. I mean, you could glue it to this box top. I kind of like the dimension of the bow being back there, but it's entirely up to you. Okay, so it looks like that. And then this one just gets a lid. I didn't even use foam, but you will need to cut it down. So I'm just going to use a pencil and mark where I want it. And trim. And I'm just going to glue that one on. The only thing here is this paper says ho, ho, ho. You might want to make sure that they're both right side up. All right, so my gifts are made. And now we're going to put together our tree. So you have a little bag here with a Christmas tree, some garland, and some ornaments. So I'm going to start with the garland. So you have two pieces of, it's green on one side, white on the other, and I'm going to start up here at the top. I'm just going to put some glue on it. Whoops, I got the wrong edge. Well. Okay, and it really doesn't matter. You could start this way too if you want. So you're just going to, I'm going to try to make it cross down to that. And then we're going to take some scissors and trim. And that already has glue on it, so now I'm just going to take that edge like so, trim, and then the last piece, you can cut it. You're really only going to see so much of it, so it's not a big deal. And then if you were concerned, you could cover that up, which I think I will. Probably not even going to see it, but I'm going to go ahead and cover that seam there where the two garlands meet. Then I'll make sure the rest is covered. We are going to stick them onto the tree. So they do have a sticky back on them already, so you might want to use tweezers or something sharp. And I know they're little, or you can just use glue. Let's see if I can get that backing paper off with my tweezers. There it goes. All right. And then we're just going to place them on the tree. Now I had mine hanging from the garland. They really are ornaments, not lights, but there's really no right or wrong. So if you just want to put them on your tree, however you want. There's 6 of them. You don't have to use them all. They're 3 different shapes. I don't know how many I'm going to be able to see, so I might leave the rest. I'm going to put one more down here. And I might leave these other 2 from when we put it together, and I'll see if I want to fill in any voids there. So the tree part is done. I did take a little white gel pen, get it started, and added highlights to the ornaments. You don't have to, just a very little detail. Okay, so now we are going to tuck in our presents and our tree. So they are going to get attached, and you can tuck them. You can't really tuck behind because of the way we glued that, so you can tuck behind like so and then not see the white. You could trim it down or not really worry about it. This is going to cover right there. So I'm just going to slightly, and I want to keep it inside of our So I'm going to use some tape runner there so I can move it around if I want. So there's that one. And then this one is going to go right here. And I did pop this one up. So I'm going to put a couple foam squares on that. And sometimes I'm going to use my tweezers. I'm going to get it where I want it. And I'm going to kind of go behind and make sure that gets attached. All right, so there's our presents. And then our tree is going to tuck in behind. So see, you're not going to, you can't really tell. Now if that bothered you and I had one scrap that I tossed of the garland, I could go back in and tuck it in there, but I'm not really going to worry about that too much. So I'm going to put it like so. And then get it where I want it, and then I'm just going to go in with wet glue and tack it down. So there. And then I am going to glue the presents to it so that everything stays together. And just hold that for a minute. And I think I'm good. I'm not even going to add the rest of those ornaments. I'm just going to toss those. And there is your We Wish You a Merry Christmas pop-up card. All right, our next card is Peace, Love, and Joy. This is a mini slimline card. And so we're not going to glue this onto our card base just yet. So let's start with this. We are going to fussy cut this ornament from the paper, and I am going to leave off, I'm just going to leave maybe about half of that gold topper, and we're going to put on our own. So you can cut like so. It should be a pretty simple cut. I went right up to the edge, left no white or cream, whatever that is. All right, there is our ornament. And then we have all these greenery pieces here. So we're just gonna play around with the placement just for a moment. So we have two lighter color and a dark. And so I have one coming from behind, one up here. All right, so however you want to do that. All right, so that's about my placement. So what I'm going to do is put one foam square in the middle back of my ornament, and I'm going to tack it down because now I need to put on this thread. So we'll hold off on those. That way we can still tuck them in. So you have this thread, and a tip for this thread is that it likes to fray. So what I did is put some glue on the ends of it and just twist it like so. And then when that dries, it'll quit doing that. All right, so there's those edges, but then what we have to do is cut it in half. And so these cut edges will be easier to do. We're just gonna put a little glue and do that same thing. All right, so what we're going to do is we're gonna find this little gold topper and we're gonna go ahead and glue that on. I'm just gonna put a little glue on the bottom and stick that. And what you probably will need is a, you're gonna want foam behind that eventually. Actually, I'm gonna do that right now. Let me get a little foam square and put it behind. stabilize it while we're doing what we're doing. Okay, so one of these pieces of thread, so you cut it in half, and one of them we are just gonna put through this. We're gonna put through the topper, just like so. And we are going to, I've got a piece of Scotch tape over here, and we're gonna just fold it in half and wrap it around the top of our card. Okay, so like so, we're just gonna pull it tight but not too tight and wrap it, flip it over, tape it down. Okay, you got a little tape showing. I'm just gonna try it. All right, so there's your ornament hanging. And then this remaining piece, we're gonna tie a bow, but I'm gonna wait to do that until the very end. All right, so the other thing we have, let's get that down as well, is this gold strip of paper. So we're gonna glue that down. And it just goes at the bottom, about 1/8 of an inch from the bottom, and it is a little long. So I'm gonna line that up, and then I'll trim off the excess, and then I can put that down on my card base. There's one. All right. So now that piece is ready to go on, so we'll go ahead and do that. And you will have a very thin white border around the edge. Okay. And so now we are ready for the greenery pieces. So I have my string, I did that first because I have it tucked behind my greenery pieces. Now on this piece right here, I did pop it up. So you're gonna have to possibly trim down some of these foam squares. So I'm gonna just take some and cut them in half, and then put them in spots where it's nice and thick. So this is not a necessary step if you don't want to fuss with the foam. So I'm going to pull off the backing of that and then put that down where I want it. All right. There we go. And then we have another dark green, and I have that in here, but I also have that on foam. So I'm gonna do that process again. And I think I'm gonna glue down this edge and then pop up the end. So I'm going to tuck it in behind, and then those will stick up. All right, and then we have another dark one. I'm going to tuck it in here, and I'm just going to glue this one straight down. And the other light one is kind of tucked in behind there, and I don't have this one popped up either. All right, like so. And so we have a flower and some greenery and the sentiment. So let's start with the sentiment. You have peace, love, and joy. This is a Pinkbrush Studio stamp and die set. And so the peace, love, the and sign. So this big end that sticks out, then it go like so. And the joy, right there. So I'm gonna glue those down. And the piece in the... All right, so there's our sentiment. And then you should have 2 poinsettias and 2 hollies. So we're gonna layer up poinsettias, and then you are welcome to shape these if you wanna use any shaping tools that you have to kind of make the flowers look rounder and fuller. A lot of times people use a stylus and a mouse pad. I don't have that, but I might just... You do have to be delicate because these petals are like embossed and those lines can easily rip open. And so there's that. And then the 2 hollies are tucked in behind it. So I'm just gonna put a big glob of glue right there. I'm gonna put my flower on and then tuck in the flowers, or the leaves, goodness, not the petals, like so. All right. All right, so I finished my card. Oh, let's tie the bow, and then we'll talk about that. So I'm actually just gonna come behind. I'm not gonna try to loop it or anything. I'm just gonna try to come, if I can, right behind there. There we go. And then I'm just gonna tie a knot and a bow. So I just came behind where those 2 threads are. I'm going to tie a knot at the top of the topper and tie a bow. And then trim off the edges. And then what I may do is, there we go. I'm going to put a little glue on right here. Just, it'll dry clear, but it'll ensure that bow won't come untied. All right, there's my card, and as you can see, I forgot to bring down the prills and the glitter, and so all I did here is, this is Paperlicious frosting powder. And we just took some glue and just lightly touched the edges here and there of the greenery, sprinkled the powder on, shook off the excess, and then I used prills here in the center. You could use glitters, you could use a rhinestone, whatever you want there. But that card is finished. All right, our next card, Joy. So let's see, let's start with, we're gonna start, make sure my card base is open the right way. I'm just gonna put some adhesive on the top and the bottom because I find that easier. And you should have 2 cream pieces of paper, one thick, one thicker one thinner one. The thicker one's gonna go at the bottom. And we just did this to conserve paper. All this solid paper came from your paper pad, and so why waste a whole sheet when you're only gonna see about 1 inch of it and no one's gonna know. So that's what we're gonna do there. But before we do that, you also have 2 black strips, and we're gonna glue those. So what I'm gonna do is put some on the edge. Now, if you do it the wrong way, then your black is gonna be too short, so that's the wrong edge. So it should match. And I'm gonna glue it down so they can see about 1/8 of an inch of that black strip. All right, so like so. And I'm gonna do that same thing on the other end. So again, if that black does not match up perfectly as far as the length, then you're gluing it to the wrong edge. All right. That is done, and then this piece is going to go right here, and then you could go all the way up, all the way down. You could center it. So I think this time I'm going to center mine because I don't like the orientation of that one, but let's see if I like it better like this. Need to fill up my glue. Okay. So I'm going to center it, but it's up to you what you want to do. All right. So now we're going to take this Joy and we're going to fussy cut this, and I left a cream border and I did include all the greenery. So I'm just going to start right here, and I left probably about an 1/8 or a 1/16, very close. I just tried to keep it as even as I could. Just cut slowly. All right, so there it is. And then that is going to go in the center of your card, or maybe slightly lower, but I'm going to put mine, I think, dead center. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put, I think I'll put 3 foam pieces in the center because I want to be able to tuck things in. And then I can go back and add foam afterwards, after I place all that. So put that in the center. All right, and then now we're going to open this little bag of die cuts. All right, so you should have 4 pieces of pine, so we aren't going to do anything to those. And then you should have 6 poinsettias. And we're going to layer those up. So same size with same, so we have 2 large and 4 small. So we're going to put a large on the large, offset the petals, and then a small on the small, and the same thing here. All right, and you are more than welcome to mess around with these again if you want to turn the petals, whatever you want to do. But they have nice details, so it's not really necessary. Or you can get out your shaping tool and shape them. All right. All right, so, and then the other thing you'll need to do, you should have 1 berry branch here, and then you should have these berries on the end of, or on this Post-it tape. So I'm just going to put a dot of blue on each end, and then we're going to stick the red side's up. They're green on one side, red on the other, unless you want green berries. One more. All right. Guess you have an extra. You can toss that if you want. Okay. This bow is going to go up here, so I'm going to go ahead and just stick that down so we know where that placement is. Okay, so now we have the 3 flowers. So the largest one down here, I have a small one and a small one, and then you should have, put a large branch there, I think a large branch there, and this is why we only popped up the center, so we could tuck these in. All right, so I'm gonna start with those. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm not gonna glue down the flowers yet, just this pine. All right, and then I'm gonna put each flower on a piece of foam. So there's one, there's one. And they're not actually sitting on, they're just off so that they match up with that paper. So there we go. There's one. And I'm gonna put one right here. All right, and now we're gonna tuck in the leaves and the berry branch. So the berry branch is up to you. You could cut it, I cut it so I had berries in each bunch. So I cut off the bottom, so right here. So I had a piece right here, and it's gonna go down in there. And then I have a piece with two, and I'm gonna cut off one of them by themselves. So these two are up here, and this one's in there. So I'm gonna tuck those. If you just wanna use it in one or two pieces, you're welcome to do that as well. Just add some more color. All right, so there's the berries. And then I'm gonna finish by tucking in all these leaves. So each flower gets 2 leaves. You can choose big or small. Obviously I use let's see, I use 2 big ones here. So, and I'm gonna put glue on both sides. I didn't really pop them up, I just kind of tucked them in there and I've got one right in here. And you could pop them up if you wanted. And then I have a small one right here. And then I did use 3 up here. So I have a large and 2 small. There's one. So I've got one right there and one right in there. I'm gonna hide my... All right, so you could go ahead and add glitter to those greenery pieces if you wanted, or leave it as is. And then our finishing touch for this card is going to be these gold nail heads, and they are on a string. So if you grabbed one end and pulled it, they would come off in a complete string, and that is not what we want. So you can take an X-Acto knife or scissors. I'm just gonna go in there and cut in between each one. Use my paper piercer. And here's one. I'm gonna put one right here in the center of this bow, and they are sticky already. I mean, you could use more if you wanted. And then I have one in the center of each flower. And then these joy letters have circles in them, and I filled in each circle with a gold nail head as well. All right, Those are on there. So that card is complete. The only thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and add some foam here and here just to secure those ends. So if I can get that to come off, there's foam, and I'm just going to slide it in underneath there to secure that. Actually, I think I'm going to need to use small ones. It's going to go right there. One. I'll do one more. There we go. All right, that card is finished. Okay, our next card is Season's Greetings. And let's go ahead and start. Put the card base together. So you have this floral paper with red snowflakes on the back, and that is going to go down onto your white card base. And then we have Season's Greetings is embossed on the bottom, and that is going to line right up the bottom like so. Oops. Not yet, not yet. Okay. All right, and then this piece is going to go up at the top. So now that we have that part done, you should have 2 gold strips, and those are going to butt right up against the green, and then we'll trim off the excess. So I'm going to try to use just very little strip of glue here. Okay, and then lay that gold down like so. I'll do the other one. All right. We'll flip that over and trim. All right, so there's that portion of the card. So now we're going to open our little bag of die cuts. Put together the floral pieces. We have this little post-it of gold. All right, so let's see, where shall we start? Let's start with the poinsettia. So you have a big one and a little one. We're going to put the little one on top. Offset the petals. There's really no right or wrong, just whatever looks good to you. We aren't going to do anything with the pine or this greenery piece or the holly leaves. All right, so we should have 4 flowers. I seem to be missing one. Oh no, I'm not, geez. 1, 2, 3, 4, gosh. So you have 2 bright red pieces that are larger and the smaller, darker red. They have embossed lines in them, and they are gonna layer on top of the bright red. So one goes on the other, and I don't know if there's a right or wrong. I think you can play around with it. You could offset them too if you wanted. I just have them straight on like so. And then the last thing we're gonna do, this little piece, stick over there. Okay, you should have 2, a single and one with 3, and these little red buds are gonna go on top. So So I'm going to put some glue on each one. All right. So there's one. 2, 3, so it's going to look like that. And then we have single, okay? So let's put those pieces together. So they're really just layered up here. So you have 2 pines, and I would probably suggest, I'm going to trim off about that much of them so that we can put them on there, and they aren't, you don't want those big twigs sticking out. So I'm going to have one that way and one slightly going up the other. Okay, and then that flower will go there, but I'm not going to put it down yet. That's going to be popped up. So this, I'm also going to trim off that stem, and that's going to tuck in there. So go ahead and do that. So like so. Perfect. And then we have the hollies. So got one in there, and I think 2 coming out of the other side. One there. I'm going to put one down there. Where did the other one go? All right, and then I'm not crazy about the placement of that. Let's do that. Okay. And then we have this piece here, which I have kind of poking out like so. All right, there's that. And then I have, let's see, this piece here is going to go like so. And I have it popped up. So I'm going to take some more foam, and I'm going to cut one in half and put like so. And there it is. And then, you know what? I'm looking at this. No, I don't have those popped up. Okay. Then I'm going to leave it. Glue that edge down. And then I'm going to put foam on the back of that so I can get that down. And try not to cover anything up. All right, so there's the flower, and then the last little bit are going to be these. So I have one of these popped up. I'll take my little other half of the foam and have that one there, and that one is just kind of glued straight down in there. All right. So there's that. So one last piece, but now I seem to have lost my, oh, it's stuck to my finger. Okay, that's what I was looking for. So that is for the center of our flower. So I'm going to put a little glue here. And that's going to go down like that. And then you have 6 of these tiny little gold dots, and I'm going to put one in the center of these flowers, so one each. I think I'm going to use my They're not sticky though, so I'll use my jewel picker. They're just gold cardstock. They kind of look like those nail heads though. So one there, one there, and then the other ones are kind of clustered onto that gold there to kind of add dimension to that center. No, come on. One, two. And it's up to you. If you want to add all four, you just want to add 3. Need some more glue. All right, so there's that. And now that card is finished. All right, our next card is Santa Claus is coming to town. Happy ho ho holidays. And we have a little shaker card. And so this is kind of a different take on a shaker card. So these little bags that your kits come in, we have used a smaller size of that bag to create the shaker for you. And so that will make it go really fast and it'll be really easy. So let's go ahead and start. We're going to put down this black paper onto the white card base. You got a little, you should have some little green die cut stars, so you don't want to lose those. All right, and now we're going to put down the Santa paper. And that's going to go down centered. So you're going to have a very thin black border, very thin. Okay. And so now you have this little shaker bit already done for you. It should already have some sequins and snowflakes in there. And we're going to glue this right down to the card base. So don't open it, don't take anything out. We're going to glue it right down. And I have mine kind of, and then it should be centered and then slightly towards the top. Okay, because our frame that we cut, this is a long fawn frame, is a little bit longer. So you can see, hopefully you can see, there's a gap right there. We're going to cover it up with the banner and no one's going to know. So that's why we went a little bit higher. So now what we're going to do is put foam on the back of the frame. I have some thin foam strips I'm going to put down. Okay. And we're just going to stick that right on top. So making sure that you can see the sentiment up there. And it goes right down on top. Perfect. So now we have our little shaker element. And then this piece is going to cover that up like so. So you might need to put some, another piece of foam where that opening is. Oops. And that will stabilize that piece. Let's see if I have another small one. Like so. And then before I put that on, I'm going to hold off here a minute. Let's layer up our little candy pieces. So you should have a red candy cane and a little circle, and then the white pieces that go on top. So I'm going to put the white candy cane on top of the red. All right, and then this white is going to go like so. Now we have a little peppermint, and then you have your little stars. So I tuck this candy cane in behind my sentiment. You can put it on the front of it as well if you'd rather, so it's up to you. That's a preference. I'm going to pull off those backings of those little pieces of foam it's stuck in there. And I'm going to put that on, tuck in the candy cane. Well, maybe. I thought I stuck it down. Okay. You know what? I'm just going to stick mine out on the front. It's kind of giving me fits. All right. And then the little mint goes up here in that corner. And then we have a star. And then 2 stars here. So the largest star there. And there you go, probably the fastest shaker card you've ever made. So there it is. That's finished. All right, our next card. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. All right. So we will start with this red tree paper and put that on to the white card base. Okay. Then the candy cane stripe paper is going to go on the left-hand side. And now that gets matted onto there. Okay, all right, so I'm gonna pop that piece up. That gets centered in the card. Okay. Now we're going to open up our little bag of die cuts and I think the only thing we need to do here is put the berries on the branches. So you should have 2 branches. And this little post-it of berries, we're going to stick those on. All right, there's that. So now we can build up all this greenery on the card. So you should have 2 large. So everything's going to meet right here where this bow is. So I'm just going to, so I've got a large one there, and I'm going to put a large one going up, and then a little one, and a little one. Okay, and then we're going to have a berry branch coming out of each one, so I'm just going to put some glue here. And there's that. Same thing here. All right, and then the hollies, couldn't think of what to call them. So you should have like a larger one and a smaller one. And I just alternate them to kind of give, so it doesn't look exactly the same, but it's up to you how you want to do it. And then right here, that bow is gonna go right there where they all meet. And so if you want to try to pop it up, you can. You'll need to cut down either a foam strip or a foam square. I'm going to cut down a little foam strip, put that on the back. And right there it goes. And that card is finished. All right, so we have one final card to finish off here. And we'll start with layering up our papers. So I'm going to do that same thing. I'm going to put some adhesive there, and I'm going to put a strip of green at the top. All right, and then next comes the holly paper, and it's going to butt right up to that green strip. So I'm going to use wet glue on that one. And again, that will butt right up there. Okay, so now you should have 2 strips of gold again, and those are going to go right over the seam of those 2 papers. So just a thin strip of glue there, and I'm going to go right over the seam. Do the same thing down here. So now we're going to layer up our greenery over here, and let's mess with these berries here. So you should have this green die cut. There's a spot for 4 berries, so we're going to put those small berries on there. Actually, yeah, 5 berries. I can count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. And then on this piece here, those 3 berries get layered up on this piece. So we'll do that. All right. And the only other thing that I'm going to do is I cut this piece in half. So right in here is where I cut it. So now you have those 2 pieces. And we're going to layer all that up here in the corner of the word piece. Now, I don't have my glitter. So what I did is I used, so let me tell you that before I finish this card. A quickie glue pen, and it's a very fine point, and glue comes out. And so I just went in and colored in like those hearts, this kind of leaf, those flowers. I mean, here there's supposed to be a line at this stamp, just did not stamp well. And then that again with the glue pen, and then sprinkled gold glitter on top, and that's how I got that. You could certainly leave it white and no one would be the wiser. I also, it's hard to tell with the quickie glue pen all these little tiny asterisk looking pieces. I think they're supposed to be snowflakes. I put the Quickie glue pin on and added gold glitter to those as well, just to kind of pull all that gold together. But you could certainly eliminate that step altogether. So it is optional. So that being said, we're going to layer up. So you should have 3 holly pieces. So I'll have one here, here, and one coming down this way. All right, and then one of these. So I'm gonna do like this. Okay. And then the other one is on this side of this holly. So I think they're gonna go something like that. Go. Here we are. And then this little piece I kept all together, and it's just poking out right in there. And we're going to finish. I'm going to put some foam on the back of that little berry cluster, and I'm just going to cover up all that where it all meets right there. So there's that, and then you have one remaining piece, which is this gold bow. I'm just going to pull out. I need to poke out the little holes here. And then that, I just kind of tucked it around the berries like so, and I'm gonna glue it down. And that will finish that card and our video today. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed these Christmas cards using the Magic of Christmas from Echo Park. If you're interested in a kit, you can check us out on our website at www.frommomentstomilestones.com, and you should be able to search up card kits there. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.